Pure emptiness, expressed in time, waiting to be filled with activity. But the good news is that every month I'm receiving a pleasant amount of money from the state that allows me to stuff the void. I fill up my days with spending money on the rent of my studio, friends, alcohol, and fuck-ups. Affairs that are tied together by a series of subtle and devious rituals that have the ultimate goal to beat me to death. But you exposed me the beauty of morbid thoughts, and I chose death as my favorite democratic institution, where I'm going to do a little dancing. Our bodies have met, but our minds did not meet. I fucked up. I'd meant to dominate you, but you overshadowed me with an even more dominant mode of being, and I got glued down to you. With an utmost compliance, I indulged in emotional alienation and gave you my loyalty, like a dog. I lost my mind, you lost interest, I stayed loyal. Got sort of hooked on the agony. But secretly hiding under that mode of submission, there was a dangerous wish to imbibe you, to guide your soul into my body and endow myself with your life power. But all I got was possessed, and I've been busy exercising myself ever since. The trivial thought of inviting you to my opening wrecks my brains out. It causes my lips to bleed. Even though things didn't work out, I still think you are mighty. Like the other night, when you were making a fool out of yourself. You wasted all your talent entirely in the very moment it happened, leaving no traces behind, only memories that are carefully locked up in my mind, together with those who were lucky enough to be there that night. It's as if you scream to yourself out loud, but with carefully chosen words that you filter with your tongue, like a priest that spreads Renaissance humanism, but drunk. By giving away free lectures on the art of being, you create an audience you deeply affect. I envy you for this, but it can be problematic from time to time. Your life sort of takes place as a long happening in space, but the space of one human being begins where the other one stops. Claiming the entire world to be yours can leave little room for participation, and I see people struggle with that. And then there's those large forces chasing you. They try to catch your genius moments and captivate them. When a guy walks up to you and offers you a better life, it doesn't mean he wants you to have it. But when you accept to take his hand, be vigilant, for the proof of your existence can't be folded within a piece of paper. But maybe I'm just mistakenly wrong. Maybe it has been the source from which your soul derived all along. I know you dream about a day where your work will free you from all social and existential obligations. Me too, I have a fantasy about disappearing. Not sure if beating this dead horse is the best thing to do. Anyway, what was yours is mine now. Days stopped from being lucid since that night you left your diary behind in that bar. From there, it all led to catharsis. I know you didn't leave it there intentionally, but I just can't urge myself to tell you that I have it. My body embraced its substance and gulped it down. Page by page, I'm dissolving its viscosity, and when it all makes sense, I'll offer it back to you as a gelatine cake. Maybe you'll fancy its flavor and eat until vomiting, but maybe you can't bear the sight of it as you had it 1,000 times. In any case, you should remember that at the cutting edge, there is me. I tie this all together. The worst thing that can happen is that you will remember me as someone who told you something you already know. But I'm okay with that. This morning, I smashed myself into the shape I decided to be the day before yesterday. After staying in that shape for about 2 hours, the only thing I got left on my mind was my weight. I could not only feel my body getting heavier by the minute, but also had this irritating sensation of my skin slowly turning brown. Under this burden, I dragged myself to the mirror, where I discovered a hump of clay. I accepted the circumstances to be suitable for paying a visit to the Kunsthalle. After a shallow inspection, I chose the most strategic spot, top floor, and exposed myself. Some people passed me by every now and then, but not one of them granted me a minute of time. Maybe I should have offered an explanation. Boredom took place of excitement. But then, a little before closing time, a large group of people entered the space. A few of them nearly raved into me as I looked at someone taking a selfie stick out with the help of art. Then, out of the blue of noon, I felt a touch. One unlike any other. A more of a deliberate attempt to connect with me. I started rubbing back, and we lost ourselves in a mutual gaze. Like this, we molded until closing time. Once back home, while masturbating, I understood something. I want you to know that I don't want to know you. In every house there are guys shaving themselves behind windows, but I am deeply in love with your ghost. The other day, I came across a billboard that announced your upcoming show in Zurich. I stopped, though initially I didn't recognize you. But then, because you recognized me, I recognized that you recognized me, and so I recognized you. When you recognized that I recognized you recognizing me, we mutually recognized the utopian potential of recognition. In the most intimate way, we recognized each other, right there on the street. We recognized something we hadn't recognized before. I recognized myself in you, and you recognized yourself in me. Until the point where I didn't recognize myself any longer, which you recognized as something you didn't recognize. You recognized there was nothing left between us to recognize, in which I recognized something I couldn't have recognized before, and for which I'd like to give you my recognition.
So sad!
Since my exhibition ended. Melancholia ever since. Today I feel especially gloomy, not able to leave the house. Can't stop staring at this small painting of a meteorite that crosses into the ocean. It's signed by Martina, 99, and hangs above my bed in which I dream of you. I was looking for your face in a mating ritual taking place in front of the gallery. I just wanted to find you quickly in order to give you back your diary and leave. On my way in, I kept on being fenced by swarming limbs and monstrous sounds that evoked all kinds of feelings except the one I was looking for. I squeezed out my last segments of dignity, let them slither like eels on the cold gallery floor, and informed if anyone yet seen a free person around. Dismissed by mental case convictions, I drowned myself at the bar until I got distracted by some commotion in one of the corners of the space. A small crowd seemed to have started transforming itself into a solid stage that got soon joined by others who helped a decor out of human flesh come into existence. I couldn't see shit from where I was standing, but what I could detect was a very strong smell coming from something or belonging to someone that had stolen their breath. Inescapably drawn to it, I kneeled. I squirmed myself through the mess until I got struck by a victorious smile. There you finally were then, fighting and sweating your guts out, carrying out the message of freedom, right there on time. jog her ass off, but she is still going to die. That's what I like about life. It's democratic. It would irritate me if you could jog and live forever, while I'm here smoking, having a good time, and die over it. I smoke a Bosnian brand of cigarettes called Herzegovina, of which the package shows us the abbreviation HF. Yesterday, when my flatmate went for one of her runs, I decided to use the exact time of her absence to come up with as many alternative names for my cigarettes, constraining myself by the letters H and F. Starting off with holy fuck, I continued for the next hour. Help Fiona. Hate Falkland Islands. Hustling forward. Hideous features. Horse fat. Honest face. Haunted furniture. Hostile fruit. High fence. Helpless fools. Hallway flirting. Hedonistic felonies. Harmonious foghorns. Homeless futurists. Hispanic feedback. Hostages forever. Hooligans Feyenoord. Handwritten fiction. Handgun farewell. Hammer faster. Hacking Facebook. Heidegger fascist. Hangover fun. Hope fades. Hospital Friday. Hairy fists. Hiking fellowship. Hetero flexible. Hysterical farm wives. Handy Ferrari. Handsome fresco. Heaven factories. His fault. Harlequin floors. Heading fatal. Healthy frustrations. Happy funerals. Humiliation fascination. Hijack fanatics. Human filters. Hashtag filth. Human fountain. Heterogeneous freaks. Hell frozen. Hardcore feminists. Horny fiancés. Hero on flicks. Hip hop fame. Hypnotizing friends. Harp 45. Himalaya feeling. Hello, father. Happening fluxus. Haricot France. Historic fear. Heavy forks. Hairline fetish. Halo fog. Hallucinated fevers. Hip bone feelings. Harvesting fetuses. Heroic failures. Hard Fassbinder. Hunting ferociously. Hopelessly fleeing. It's not easy to free oneself from fleeing hopelessly from oneself. I don't use time to run away from death, and it scares me to live in a culture where death and boredom have no significance. I rather face my own nothingness and start something from nowhere, far behind from the social limitation that is the thief robbing us from our imagination. I spoke very intimately about general issues we never got to talk about. Sure, there were moments I was acting a little, but solely the role of phony naturalness. If you wish to blame me for not having been genuine enough, or for having been overly sincere, you can. Either way, I politely offered you a plate full of authenticity. I stripped myself bare, and I'm sorry if at times I made you feel like an intruder, but secretly hope I gave you the sensation of penetrating me, as I once considered you as my subject of preoccupation. When the energy of two bodies meet, forces radiate from one to another, and something new can be created. You certainly entered me with a force that has changed me, one that might be more powerful than your love could have ever given to me. And all I had to do was to take a little bite, to become possessed before being galvanized into action. It's like tribal shamanism, or like an alien spirit that enters the body of a living thing. It goes right in and takes over temporarily, until the next one comes along.